I was the newest closer on a team of experienced closers, and I still always had the highest show rate. Wasn't because I was better than anybody, it was because I ran a system that no one else was using. I joined this offer in February and there were already 7 closers on the team. I would made the 8th and all 7 reps had been there longer. They knew the offer better, all super strong performers. And as a new guy, you get the lowest priority leads. That's just how it works. And it's because you haven't proven yourself yet, so you're not getting the best opportunities. You get basically the leftovers while you figure things out. Which, honestly, fair enough, I get it, because you know how it's like to be the new guy. You're kind of just watching how everyone closes deals to find out what talk tracks they're using or how they handle objections, if they get objections at all. It's just how it is when you first start with a team. Anyway, so the marketing department's focus for the month was to increase show rate across the board, and they put that in the hands of the closing team. They started a competition where whoever had the highest show rate for the month, they won a $500 bonus. And I remember thinking, okay, this is something that I can actually win. Again, not because I felt like I was the best closer on the team, but because I knew something about show rate that I wasn't sure everyone else was doing. Most closers, they don't do anything when they get new calls booked. They just kind of wait and hope they show up on the day of. And I know because I've seen this on just about every team I've sold on. They either leave all pre-call communications to their setter, they maybe send a confirmation text the day before, but I took control over my income. Every time I got a prospect booked on my calendar, I looked at it as me springing into action. So the moment that anyone booked a call with me, I would just straight up call them straight away. No waiting. Didn't matter what I was doing. Didn't matter what time it was. The second that a booking hit my calendar, when I saw the notification on my phone, I would start dialing. Not to sell them on the spot, but just to connect with them and show that I was a real human on the other side. Because when people first book with you, you're just some calendar on the internet. But when you actually talk to them, now it's a real thing. It's harder to stand up a human being who takes time to connect with you. I would just call them and say, hey, just saw you booked. I wanted to connect before we met. I would confirm the time works. I'd find out what they're hoping to get out of the call. And then I'd get them to commit to going through any pre-call material I had for them. 3 minutes, maybe 5. Didn't take anything to do that, right? And I was crazy about this because I knew that winning that show rate competition was the most important thing for me to do as the new guy. Because basically I felt like I had to prove myself to the rest of the guys that I actually belonged in the ring with them. I would literally call people at 1 o'clock in the morning because I was in Pacific time in San Diego. And when they would book at 10 p.m. on the West Coast, that would be 1 a.m. on the East Coast. And yet I'd call anyway. And I remember one guy picked up and he asked me if I knew what time it was. And I just told him, yeah, it's 10 p.m. here in San Diego. But I was on my phone and I saw that you just booked. I assumed that you were awake. So I just figured I'd call. And honestly, he was pretty pissed. But at the same time, we spoke the next day on the call and he ended up closing. So was it anything that a good night's rest couldn't solve? Right? If I'd call people and they didn't answer, I didn't have to chase them because I would just mark their slot as unconfirmed. I'd mark the position as free so someone else can book the slot. And I would let the original person know that, hey, you have to reach out to me in order for us to keep this time slot secured. And that's called calendar control. And it completely flips the dynamic of who's chasing who. And suddenly people are reaching out to me to lock in their spot instead of me sending those, hey, just wanted to confirm the time tomorrow works. Those text messages you send when you're a rookie. I knew that most closers wouldn't do this because I've seen it across the board for, again, all the other offers I've sold on. And it's because it feels like you're risking the call, like you might lose the booking because if they get booked on top of, then you get double booked and you lose one. But that's also exactly why this works. I also didn't have my prospect primer fully built until about week 3, by the way. So for the first 3 weeks, it was just me using first contact and calendar control running those 2 things together. I had the highest show rate on the team. I won the $500 bonus, all for doing something that takes 3 minutes per booking and costs absolutely nothing. And what's funny is it wasn't really close. I didn't just win. I kind of ran away with it. But here's what mattered more than just the $500. Because in week 1, I noticed, yes, more people are showing up. Week 2, I started to find my rhythm. And then by week 3, the other closers had more experience, they had more bookings, but I was talking to more prospects. So I was learning faster. And when you're brand new on an offer, getting those reps are everything. As the month progressed, my close rate started to improve. And by the end of the month, my team lead moved me from low priority to high priority leads. Again, not because I was a better closer or because I learned some magic tricks overnight, but because I proved that I could get people to show up. And after the month ended, the rest of the team asked what I was doing different, and I showed them. And that's kind of the whole point of this channel. Most closers think that show rate is somebody else's problem, saying, hey, no, that's on my setter, or that's on marketing, or that's just lead quality. And yes, I know there are bad leads. Bad leads do exist. There are some setters that need help. But here's what I also do know. Show rate directly affects your commission, because you've definitely felt this before, where you wake up, you check your calendar, you have 5 calls booked, and you're thinking, snap, today's the day, I'm about to make some money. But then 2 calls cancel. And then 1 call no-shows. So now, out of those 5 opportunities that you had at the start of the day, you really only got 2 chances to close. But if 5 people book with you and all 5 show, then you have 5 chances to close at least 1 deal to stay within a serviceable KPI. You have the same skill, same offer, same everything, you just have more opportunities. And if you can personally increase that number by doing something, again, that takes 3 minutes per booking, why wouldn't you do that? Elite closers don't hide behind roles. They don't split the responsibility up because they take control of their income. They build leverage where they can. And I'm not telling you all this to flex about a $500 Venmo award. I'm telling you this because it's the simplest, low-effort thing that you can do to immediately start closing more deals without changing a single thing you say on a call. You don't need to get better at sales to win a show rate competition, because show rate is about getting more opportunities. And for that, you just need a system. Again, 3 minutes per booking, every single time, no exception. Confirm the time, get some alignment on what they're looking for at the end of the call, and send them your prospect primer. So that action there is called first contact. And then for the prospects you don't get a hold of, mark any unconfirmed time slot as open, put it as free on your calendar so someone can get booked over it, and that's called calendar control. So first contact and calendar control are 2 pillars of the pre-call stack. And if you want the 3rd pillar, which is the prospect primer you'd send before you hopped on any calls with anybody, ideally you send it at the very beginning when they first book straight away, then you can see the one I used on a previous offer I used to sell for by going to jumpifylabs.com/stack, drop your name and email, and I'll send it to you. Okay, go get your show rate up, my beautiful peoples. And if you like videos like this on how to close more deals without getting better at sales, consider subscribing. I'll see you in the next one.